parts, and the day amounts exactly to 10 parts, and the night to 8 parts. And the sun rises from that fourth portal, and sets in the fourth, and returns to the fifth portal of the east 30 mornings, and rises from it, and sets in the fifth portal. And then the day becomes longer by 2 parts, and amounts to 11 parts, and the night becomes shorter, and amounts to 7 parts, and it returns to the east, and enters into the sixth portal, and rises and sets in the sixth portal, 1 in 30 mornings, on account of its sign. On that day, the day becomes longer than the night, and the day becomes double the night, and the day becomes 12
What can I do to help, sweetheart?
And the night is shortened and becomes 6 parts. And the sun mounts up to make the day shorter and the night longer. And the sun returns to the east and enters into the sixth portal.
You want me to start selling more cards?
When 30 mornings are accomplished, the day decreases by exactly 1 part, and becomes 11 parts, and the night 7.
You want me to get a night job?
And the sun goes forth from that sixth portal in the west, and goes to the east, and rises in the fifth portal for 30 mornings, and sets in the west.
Now, maybe I'm tripping, but it's just wild to me that this was written thousands of years ago and how accurate it is today. You know, the validity that the book of Enoch shows is astounding when it comes to astrology. It's literally nothing, you can't prove nothing of it wrong. My personal opinion, for entertainment purposes only, keep your head on the swivel. Do your own research on everything.
West again in the fifth western portal. On that day, the day decreases by 2 parts and amounts to 10 parts, and the night to 8 parts. And the sun goes forth from that fifth portal, and sets in the fifth portal of the west, and rises in the fourth portal for 1 in 30 mornings, on account of its sign, and sets in the west. On that day, the day is equalized with the night, and becomes of equal length, and the night amounts to 9 parts, and the day to 9 parts. And the sun rises from that portal and sets in the west, and returns to the east, and rises 30 mornings in the third portal, and sets in the west in the fifth portal. And on that day, the night becomes longer than the day, and night becomes longer than night, and day shorter than day till the 30th morning, and the night amounts to exactly 10 parts, and the day to 8 parts. And the sun rises from the third portal, and sets in the third portal in the west, and returns to the east, and for 30 mornings rises in the second portal in the east, and in like manner sets in the second portal in the west of the heaven. And on that day the night amounts to 11 parts, and the day to 7 parts. And the sun rises on that day from that second portal, and sets in the west in the second portal, and returns to the east in the first portal for 1 in 30 mornings, and sets in the first portal in the west of the heaven. And on that day the night becomes longer and amounts to the double of the day, and the night amounts exactly to 12 parts, and the day to 6. And the sun has therewith traversed the divisions of his orbit, and turns again on the divisions of his orbit, and enters that portal through the morning, and sets also in the west opposite to it. And on that night does the night decrease in length by a 9th part, and the night has become 11 parts, and the day 7 parts. And the sun is returned and entered into the second portal in the east, and returns under the divisions of his orbit the 3rd morning, rising in 7. And on that day the night decreases in length, and the night amounts to 10 parts, and the day to 8. And on that day the sun rises from that portal, and sets in the west, and returns to the east, and rises in the third portal for 1 in 30 mornings, and sets in the west of the heaven. On that day the night decreases and amounts to 9 parts, and the day to 9 parts. And the night is equal to the day, and the year is exactly as in its days 364. And the length of the day and of the night, and the shortness of the day and of the night arrives. In the course of the sun, distinctions are made. So it comes that its course becomes daily longer, and its course makes it shorter. And this is the law in the course of the sun. And his return is often and return to 60 times and rises. A great moon day which is in the sun forever and ever. And that which thus rises is the great moon day, and is so named according to its appearance, according
Did you guys see that yin and yang symbol? Man, that's a lot of symbolism in this too.
That's the Lord Commander. As he rises, so he sets. He thinketh not, and rests not, but runs day and night. And his light is sevenfold brighter than that of the moon. But as regards size, they are both equal.
In a future where electromagnetism was harnessed with the utmost innovation, water, sound, and frequency had to have a major role to play. And of course it did. They wanted us to know they did. And not just the water here on Earth. They were telling us to look up and above. They wanted us to know that what they had achieved right here on Earth was only possible because they had studied what existed above. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void. And darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. And let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. Some criticize the King James translation of the Bible for its use of the word firmament. But in the original Hebrew, the word is rakia, which translates directly as firmament. In the New International Version, it is called the vault. In the English Standard Version, it is an expanse. In the Good News Translation, it is dome. What is important, however, is that in all translation, and in the original Hebrew, the notion of the firmament, or vault, separating the waters above from the waters below, does not change and remains consistent. There is water above our realm. In a future where electromagnetism was Thanks, Kurt. Like that. See you Sunday, Jim.
Sunday.
See you Sunday.
See you Sunday.
I just got my pilot's license. See you Sunday.
Time can feel it.
In today's video, we're going to be diving into the most mysterious and strange TikToks nobody can explain. Hit that like and subscribe button, and let's dive in. Quick disclaimer, this video is for entertainment, commentary, and educational purposes only. We are examining theories, claims, and different perspectives, not presenting them as verified facts. Review the evidence, do your own research, and come to your own conclusions.
So this guy takes a bell and puts it in a vacuum chamber, and then he pounds this bell as hard as he possibly can, and he cannot hear a thing. Now pay very close attention to what happens when he adds air back into this bell.
And as we let the air in, now I think bell. You can't hear the bell quite clearly. And that's a very nice experiment to demonstrate how air is needed for the transmission of sound.
You see what happens
That's why it's always
sound is literally just particles vibrating through the air to get to the person hearing the sound. So if there's nothing in the air for the sound wave to pass through, then the sound wave can't travel. So sound cannot travel in a vacuum. With this being said, why don't we... So he's in the void of outer space, but you can literally hear him like clanking metal up against the ISS. How does that make any logical sense? My theory is that they are actually underwater and LARPing being in space. Why don't you listen to this clip of someone scuba diving? It sounds exactly the same, doesn't it? And funny enough, in Austin, Texas, they train astronauts underwater. They LARP being in space by being underwater in Austin, Texas. Must be a coincidence. But I made this video entirely for entertainment purposes only. Of course, sound can travel in a vacuum.
What exactly are they trying to pull here? This is real footage from CBS in 1966.
We have freedom of medical court. It contains a life support system and communications link from the spacecraft to life support system out to that was just back.
I've got y'all now. These fools at NASA make it too easy. It's over. To all the fanboys defending the space program, please explain to me what this is. Give it another look. What is that? Are y'all actually seeing this? This is the clip I found through NASA's YouTube at the ISS, and it's still up there. It's all a big joke with them, folks. They are mocking you. And then we have this guy in the background just hanging from a wire. This is one of the more easier ones to spot. You'll find clip after clip of all these guys hanging from wires. Like there's really nothing to argue about at this point. They're lying to you. Now this is obviously a CGI overlay. These filters know that only few of us with eyes to see will spot the mockery. But the masses are so brainwashed they'll never believe us. So here we have an actor, right, because they're actors, materialize this doll out of thin air. But what's really happening is it's being transitioned from another video channel, so she's able to interact with this doll in 3D space. That's how they get all their items to float. Now, unfortunately for them, this was a live stream. They were not able to edit that part out. Now, if you go see the original clip I mentioned, there's a part where he thinks he's interacting with an object and putting it away. But there's nothing in his hands. It seems like their video guy forgot to add it in there. But you'll see he's looking beside the camera, likely another monitor, showing him where the item is so he can see the CGI object. You've got to understand, almost everything they do is behind a virtual studio set. Since when did common sense and the obvious staring you in the face become a conspiracy? People somehow can't fathom that NASA, the government, the media, lies to them on a daily basis. The joke is on them. And with as much as NASA loves to use green screen, isn't it suspicious that they also train and film in an underwater pool, where they have an exact replica of the ISS? Is that where all the action actually goes down? Well, some astronauts have been asked that, and it seems like they got caught red-handed. Just watch.
So many times during spacewalks outside of the International Space Station, you can see air bubbles rising up. Can you touch on how there are air bubbles in space? Yeah, can you be more specific? Air bubbles. So yeah, like a lot of times during the footage, the NASA footage, you can see bubbles coming up out of the helmets or kind of from underneath you. How do you explain bubbles in space?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what that means. There's plenty of water in the helmet, and it comes with either from sweat or from the cooling garments.
Could it mean that you're filming in an underwater pool and you're not really out there? That's not. Why did everyone look up bubbles in space, hashtag bubbles in space? Thank you very much.
I mean, come on, that's got to put the nail in the coffin. So let's look inside the ISS, because this setup kills me. I used to be an electrician, so I have to ask, has no one at NASA ever learned how to run a cable properly? Like, what makes you guys possibly think that this is some high-end, sophisticated technology? It looks like someone dumped a tub of spaghetti inside.
In HR-positive, HER2-negative early breast cancer, disease recurrence is a persistent challenge. Real-world data shows 26% of patients may recur within 5 years, and 45% within 10 years of adjuvant endocrine therapy. Further complicating this challenge, real-world data shows about 1 in 2
No, never have I ever been.
or discontinued adjuvant endocrine therapy early. But what if we looked deeper? In estrogen receptor-positive breast cancer, estrogen binds with high affinity to the estrogen receptor, or ER, a key regulatory protein in the breast. This activates the nuclear pathway, where the estrogen ER complex enters the nucleus and turns on genes that drive cell growth and survival. ER also signals through non-nuclear pathways in the cytoplasm, engaging kinases like PI3K, AKT, and mTOR. And these pathways are tightly interconnected with nuclear signaling. What if you could target ER signaling at its core? Ongoing research is exploring turning off ER signaling at its source by investigating the degradation of the endocrine receptor. Explore the evolving science in HR-positive early breast cancer. Visit etreimagined.com.
That's true. I used to be a contractor for this company called Bright House. They got bought out by Spectrum, and I used to hook up coaxial cable. And I'm telling you right now, this is a mess. Zero cable management at all. You mean to tell me the brightest and smartest mind in the world constructed this with zero cable management? Where's the passion in doing your job correctly? You know? It's almost like they're showing us, oh yeah, we're doing a lot of high-tech stuff that you really can't understand. Is the message I'm getting. You mean to tell me they're going to launch up in space and have these cables looking a mess like that? There's no way.
So with the ISS MiG gorilla suits, air spray, pee drinking, and didgeridoos, each publicity stunt gets more ridiculous from the last. And all of these NASA photos, from the green screen projections, the fisheye lens, the photo manipulation, the grown men on wires, and more, are all proof beyond a shadow of a doubt that there are no astronauts in space. And all the big is ground-based fraud. And if this was really how you had to use a toilet for 6 months, you'd probably go mad. Once you realize all the fakery, it gets hilarious to look at all the content they produce. For me, the debate isn't whether or not they're lying. They are. It's clear that we're being deceived on a grand scale. The real debate is what are they covering up?